If you love off-court drama or ongoing feuds and rivalries, then you're in for a treat today because we will be debunking some of the myths and facts surrounding the biggest beefs in NBA history. Welcome to Hoop Nation, where we cover everything NBA. If you enjoy the video, be sure to like and subscribe to be entered in our monthly shoutout giveaway. Number 10. Jason Richardson versus Steve Nash. Did it really happen, or is it just another TMZ scoop? Let's check out the Steve Nash-Jason Richardson beef. The story behind this alleged beef started years back when Nash and J-Rich were playing together in Phoenix. Off the court, Nash had suddenly filed a divorce from his then-wife Alejandra, just one day after their third baby was born. But according to rumors, it wasn't Steve's baby. The rumor mill began churning out some information that Alejandra had been sleeping with Richardson and the baby was his all along. The speculation grew even further when J-Rich was dealt with the Orlando Magic later that year, and Nash was shipped to LA. Both parties never talked about the alleged cheating in public, and the former teammates neither denied nor confirmed this awkward situation. So let's just leave it at that. What do you think about this beef? Is it true or not? Let me know your thoughts on this one through your comments below. Number 9. Gilbert Arenas versus Javaris Crittenton. Now, I'm sure that most of you guys are familiar with the Mexican standoff locker room confrontation between Gilbert Arenas and Javaris Crittenton, but there are only a few people who really know what had transpired behind the scenes. It all started with a card game in one of their road trip flights. Arenas was not initially part of the game, but later decided to join the game after Crittenton was already losing badly. After that, tensions began to slightly escalate when Arenas playfully rubbed it in Crittenton's face and added some ounce of trash talk on the side. After JaVale McGee had won the pot, Crittenton was upset because McGee didn't give him an opportunity to get his money back. As McGee and Crittenton engaged in a verbal altercation, Arenas had inserted himself amidst the heated argument. Gilbert Arenas said, and I quote, "I was like, Javaris, I will burn your car while you're in it. Then we'll find an extinguisher to help." And he says, "Well, I'll just shoot you then." I said, "Man, I'll bring you the guns to shoot me." Unquote. 2 days after the card game incident, Arenas followed up on his promise as he reportedly brought 4 unloaded guns inside the Wizards' locker room. He said, "It was about me calling his bluff. You say you're gonna shoot me? Fine. I'll bring you the guns to do it." But in a shocking turn of events, Crittenton brought his own gun too. The only difference is that Crittenton's gun was loaded, and without any second thoughts, he pointed the gun towards Arenas. Fortunately, cooler heads prevailed, and the seemingly hostile situation was pacified immediately. The 2 former teammates were suspended for the remainder of the 9th season, and both of them pled guilty for firearm charges. Arenas was able to play in the next season for the Wizards, but eventually was dealt to Magic, then to the Grizzlies. Due to his declining age and myriad of injuries, Arenas decided to call it quits during the 2011-2012 season. Meanwhile, things didn't turn out pretty well for Crittenton. In 2011, he was charged with murder after he killed a mother of 4 in a gang-related incident. And in 2015, he pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter, and currently serving a 23-year prison sentence. Number 8. Kobe Bryant versus Dwight Howard. Entering the 2012-2013 season, the Lakers were looking to replicate the championship success they had back in 2010. After 2 consecutive first-round exits in the playoffs, the Lakers had managed to pull blockbuster signings during the off-season, when they landed the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Dwight Howard and back-to-back MVP Steve Nash, along with the original mainstays from the championship roster like Ron Artest, Pau Gasol, and the late Kobe Bryant. The addition of Howard and Nash made the Lakers an instant powerhouse overnight. This revamped version of the Lakers sure looks scary on the stat sheet, but unfortunately, the success that this lineup had promised never materialized in the hard court, as the Lakers barely made it into the playoffs and got easily swept by the Spurs in the first round once again. We can say that one of the reasons why the Lakers failed miserably in this season is because of the beef between Kobe and Dwight. The Black Mamba was all about winning, and he wanted to pass Mamba mentality to Dwight. And let's just say that Kobe was a bit hard on Howard during their playing days. Kobe Bryant said, "I tried teaching Dwight. I tried showing him. But the reality is that when you have a perception of what it is to win a championship, and most perceptions of what it's like to win are very outgoing, very gregarious locker room where you pick each other up and you're friends all the time. That's the perception. And I think that was his perception of what the idea is. But when he saw the reality of it, it made him uncomfortable. And it's very tough to be able to fight through that, to deal with that challenge. and I don't think he was willing to deal with that uncomfortable and combative nature. In Dwight's defense, he simply downplayed this beef and said that he just wants to learn from one of the greatest minds in basketball history. After Dwight got traded to the Rockets, Kobe still threw some jabs at Dwight, calling him soft and eventually a teddy bear. Dwight Howard said, "He had a comment about me being soft, and I think for years I kinda hated him for that, because I looked at it the wrong way. I think he was more so talking about my mentality, not my physique, not how I am on the court, like my edge, and I didn't realize that because of all the noise surrounding him saying that I was soft, and I hated it. I hated him for that moment, but I realized what he was talking about." Ultimately, we can say that Kobe and Dwight just wanted to win. But due to their different viewpoints and approach to the game, this Lakers lineup is undoubted one of the biggest what-ifs in NBA history. Number 7. Matt Barnes versus Derek Fisher. The beef between former Laker teammates Matt Barnes and Derek Fisher is legit. It's so legit that it even escalated into a full-blown slugfest. It happened when Fisher was acting as the head coach for the Knicks while Barnes was playing for the Grizzlies. Fisher and Barnes were getting along pretty well, and there's no beef detected yet at this point. During this time, Barnes has split up with his then-wife Gloria Govan, and we can say that this was the part where everything got complicated. Barnes suddenly discovered that Fisher was dating his ex-wife without his knowledge. Things began to boil up even further when Barnes called one of his children in his Los Angeles home, telling him that Fisher was invited as a guest and staying at his own house. Despite the inevitable confrontation, Barnes recalled how he drove towards his home by putting on some Tupac Shakur beats while speeding off on a flat tire. Upon his arrival, Barnes spent no time getting his hands full with Fisher, as he stormed right out of the gates, jumping over the backyard fence and punched Fisher right on the kisser. There was a small gathering at the time, but thankfully, Barnes and Fisher were suppressed before things got ugly. In the aftermath of the incident, the Grizzlies suspended Barnes for 2 games. Meanwhile, the Knicks relieved Fisher from his coaching post because of the team's mediocre performance, but according to news outlets, his physical altercation with Barnes has contributed to his firing. We can say that Matt Barnes had the last laugh on this beef. Number 6. LeBron James and Delonte West. Now, the beef between LeBron James and Delonte West has been the talk of the town for years. For those who aren't familiar with this one, rumors began to unfold during 2010 about West's alleged romantic relationship with LeBron's mother, Gloria James. Both James and West never talked about it, but if there's one instance that could bring some shade of truth on this one, then that would be LeBron's performance in the 2010 playoffs against the Celtics. The Cavs were up 2-1 in the series, and LeBron James had been doing LeBron James stuff during these 3 games. But prior to Game 4, rumors began to spread that James had just received the news about the affair between West and his mom. After learning about the alleged affair, LeBron struggled mightily throughout the remaining games, losing 3 straight, highlighted by a 15-point production in Game 5. Do you think LeBron really had lost his touch, or was it because of his recent knowledge about the affair? Let me know your thoughts down below on what's the reason behind James' awful performance. In the next year, LeBron brought his talents to the South Beach while West was signed by the Celtics. In an awkward twist of fate, the 2 former teammates met once again in the 2011 playoffs. During the final minutes of their Game 5 encounter, LeBron had just sunk his first free throw, which gave his team a bit of an edge. Before LeBron took his second foul shot, Celtics head coach Doc Rivers subbed Delonte West into the game. West then walked towards LeBron and whispered some stuff in LeBron's ear. LeBron missed the second free throw and had a string of blunders after that. He rammed Paul Pierce when he was setting a pick, and he got teed up for excessive complaining. Ray Allen hit the technical free throw. Pierce hit another 2 of his own, and the Celtics were suddenly back on the driver's seat. After taking the lead, Doc Rivers subs out West and got Rondo back in the game. In the end, the Celtics won Game 5. Do you think it's pure coincidence, or does the rumored affair really get under LeBron's skin? Well, that's about it on part 1 of the biggest beef in NBA history. And if you're craving for more beefs, we've got you covered, because we got part 2 of this series. This is Hoop Nation, where we cover everything NBA. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like and subscribe to be entered into our monthly shoutout giveaway.